Hi, Robby.
Yes. So welcome to our show.
He still looks 12.
I was going to have you guys sign that. I was going to wait till after the show. You want to do it now? That's cool. Well, welcome to SacAnime, everybody. It's such a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you so much for coming. So amazing. So of course you guys are here for Beauty and the Beast reunion, of course. So thank you for that. But of course, I mean, we've got a plethora of folks here that have done many, many amazing things. And since Beauty and the Beast, I'm just going to ask a quick blanket question for everybody. Since Beauty and the Beast, what have you guys all been up to?
Oh boy, the 25 years.
Yeah. 25 years, yeah. 25 years, give it to me now. Let's just do it really quick.
Well, the last couple of years I did a couple of Broadway shows.
Broadway?
Whatever comes along.
Yeah, whatever comes along, whatever puts food on the table, right?
I did some people may know the game King's Quest. I did a couple of voices in there as well.
Awesome. So stick with the voice acting and keep moving forward. Cool. Hi, Paige.
Hi.
It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
What you been up to since the last time we had you in the show?
I know, you gotta stop eating with this. Well,
My non-girlfriend might talk.
My husband Michael and I got to tour with the Tokyo Philharmonic 20-city tour in Japan of Beauty and the Beast, and he played both Gaston and Beast. And my best girlfriend in Australia came over and played Mrs. Potts, and singing with the 100-piece orchestra was really incredible. And then I did the Rockettes show. I was the guest star of the Rockettes in Las Vegas for a few years, and 9 years of Menopause, the musical, which was fun, but I left the show a year and a half ago, and just now painting full-time for Disney now.
Painting. Excellent. Well, thank you. Welcome back again.
Thank you.
So now I'm here. I'm starstruck too. This is Robby Benson.
Hello. I'm really bad at talking about myself. I've been a professor of film at many different universities, NYU, Cal Arts. I've written 2 books. One was a bestseller.
You must get it. It's great.
Thank you.
What's it called?
Wow, I've had 2.
They want to know the
open
title.
surgeries.
They want to know the title of your bestseller.
Oh, yeah, it was called Who Stole the Funny? I used to be a sitcom director. I directed for Friends and Ellen and a lot of top shows. I've also directed some films since then.
So kept busy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Good. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
I have been doing some other projects. After Beauty and the Beast, I was on Sonic the Hedgehog, the Saturday morning cartoon. I was Tails. I also was in Jumanji with Robin Williams. And The Borrowers with John Goodman. And one guy. That was him. He was the best. And now I'm producing some of my own stuff. I have 3 projects that I'm working on that are coming out next year. And I'm a dad to 3 awesome kids.
It's a pleasure to have you too, Bradley. Thank you so much for being here.
Should we get names? Names and voices.
Oh.
Who did you do?
In the new projects, the films are called Deacon. I play a character named Lieutenant Carter. In a movie called Blind, I play the lead. The name is Charlie Weaver. And the 3rd film is called Vultures, and I just produced that. I'm actually not a character in it. My kids are Gavin, Dorian, and Lorelai. And I'm not sure if that grabs the answer to your question, because I'm not sure what
No,
answer.
who were you in the Beauty and the Beast?
In Beauty and the Beast, I was Chip the Teacup.
Sorry. It would be great if you would say who you were
Gotcha.
in the movie.
I'll take the blame for that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Rick, welcome back, sir.
It's nice to be back here. Yeah, right here for the Aladdin.
Yes, Rick was here for the Aladdin.
So yeah, I just continued to work in animation after Beauty and the Beast. Did Aladdin. I've worked at a lot of different studios since then on mini features and some new TV shows. I still animate today. I do storyboards. In my spare time, Nick and I have a ventriloquist act we take around the country. We're appearing in county fairs all over the country.
And sometimes we share, you know, who plays the dummy.
That's right. We take equal time with dummy for Be the Dummy.
Okay, it's me. I was the animator on Lumiere, and since then I've pretty much had a pretty successful career at Disney, working on Pocahontas and Miko and Pocahontas, Hades and Hercules, Cusco, Grove, certain CGI projects, Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons and Tangled, and then did the character Charlotte in Princess and the Frog, and recently I've been working at a gaming studio producing a VR free-to-play game for PS4 and PSVR called World War Tunes, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. It's a lot.
I should have mentioned I animated LeFou in Beauty and the Beast.
Well, again, it's a definitely pleasure meeting you, Paige, Robby, Bradley, Rick, Nick. It's definitely great to have you here, but I'm going to shut up because these people want to ask questions. So I'm going to let them do that and then make sure they don't ask any weird questions. I'm going to cut them off, is what I'm going to do. So, our first question.
Oh, Belle, you're beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. This Beauty and the Beast is like my childhood. So my question is, what was the most memorable part about recording, producing Beauty and the Beast? What was the one thing that you took away from it? Like, this is my favorite part of this creation.
Well, for me, it was actually when Robby was hired a month after I started. The fact that we got to record together, and that's never done because it's much more expensive, it takes a lot more time. But we requested to be able to do that, and then consequently Richard and I did too. And it made it so much more spontaneous and realistic, and it was great. It all came together for me for that. But in the movie, my favorite part is the something there sequence into the ballroom. It's just, still, I looked at it recently when we on the press tour, and I was like, this holds up forever. This is just, timeless. And that was great.
Usually, most of the recording's done one person at a time.
Yeah.
And in this particular instance, there were several times when we got to work together. And I think that the chances we got to work together. The first time we worked in the Disney studio itself, on the original Foley floor. Do y'all know what a Foley floor is?
Yeah.
Where all the sound effects are. That was pretty thrilling.
It was fun. It was fun. And Richard and I knew each other years before Beauty and the Beast happened. We did shows together. Went to Egypt together.
We did.
The Cairo Opera House of Showboat we did. That was a hoot. No microphones. Sing out Louise.
My favorite memory was how well they used stories and things from our lives in development of the character. Chip, when he comes out of the bath and squirts the water through his teeth, that was because I was telling the voice director that I had learned how to do that at my uncle's house. He had a hot tub, it was really cool. And I was 7 or 8 at the time, so it was awesome that I learned to do that, so I was showing it off and I decided to put that in. And just little memories like that, and that was fun for me.
I actually have a memory that I'm not supposed to have. I was told not to meet my animator, Glenn Keane, and unfortunately, I didn't listen. But actually, it's fortunate for all of us, because working on a film, I don't ever, when I'm working on a film, I'll never think like someday there'll be this wonderful panel and this audience. You just think about your work and how to make the work better. And I'll tell you, I've done all kinds of voice acting. when I was very, very young, I used to do the voice of, in all the Godzilla movies. I did all the little boys in the English versions. You know? Godzilla, Godzilla. But I think the best and most remarkable moment for me was sitting down with Glenn, and because he was 95, 99% of the character. And as we would discuss, I would learn from him. And we would talk about different things, and I would explain what I felt was going on as an actor. And I think that was invaluable for me, personally. Yeah, meeting Glenn. And you know, I mean, this is what we do. These guys are ridiculously talented. And they give us a platform to do what we do. And, you know.
It's like each character. I mean, we're all, the animators are just as much of a character, you know, as we are, if not more. So.
I'd agree with that to a certain extent, but there's nothing. I came from Canada, and I worked on a TV production beforehand, before I came out to Los Angeles, and I can tell you, having a good vocal performance can make or break an animator's performance. If you don't have the quality of a good acting performance, you can only go so far with it. And that was the one thing I took away. I mean, working on Jerry's voice, it was amazing to actually talk with him and all that, and get a sense of just his mannerisms. That's why they filmed all the voice people, to give the animators something to go on. And yeah, I just have to say, when Robby was talking about meeting Glenn and all that, I still remember the early parts of voice casting and how the whole Beast voice was shrouded in secrecy. And there was, when I remember at one point they had auditions at the actual airway building when we were working, and they brought in a lot of actors. One day I was walking out and I stopped and somebody was sitting on the couch, and I looked at him and he looked at me and I looked at him, and another animator came by, and I said, I went up to the guy and I says, "Is your name Brent Spiner?" And he goes, "Yeah." And it's like, and this other animator walks up and she looks at me and I said, "Do you know who this is? It's Data!" You know, and, but then he went in and I could hear, I listened a little bit to his audition, and it was all a lot of, and I think what they found in Robby was a humanity that they were looking for in the Beast, and it wasn't so much about the roaring and the monster aspect of it. It was that sensitive soul that they were looking for, and so that was to me, that was the success of that character.
That's very kind.
I agree with you, Nick. I mean, we animate, you know, I animate lots of characters. I usually do sidekicks. And I've always enjoyed, you know, either going to the voice recordings or getting videotape of whoever did the voice. Like when Buddy Hackett did Scuttle, I would go to all the recordings. And it was such an inspiration. And I was telling Robby yesterday, I said, you have no idea how great you are. I mean, even though it wasn't our character, we still were inspired by his performance. And we knew we had something really special in this film. And, you know, it's just like every film is kind of the same, working with other great animators, and not that I'm a great animator, but I mean, great animators. I need to also tell you that Chris Wall was the lead animator on LeFou, and I was on his team, but Chris is an amazing animator. He doesn't do these types of things, but if you know Chris, you know he doesn't do these things. But anyway, we have people like Robby and Paige and me and Richard. You guys were, even though you weren't our characters, you still inspired us because you were such great actors. We were like, this is not an animated film, it's a film. It's a real film. And so I think, you know, like I said, working with really great voice people inspires us to try to do great animation. My favorite memory of the movie, honestly, is not going to be too spectacular, but it was like when I finally saw it all put together. You know, we'd go to all these screenings and stuff, and we'd walk out of the screenings and have animators are very critical. You know, we're talking about, the scene doesn't work. No, this, I wish I could redo this. And you know, we have little complaints here and there, trying to make it better. But my favorite memory is when we saw it all finished. It was all scored, and I think it was probably at the El Capitan or something like that. We saw it all completely finished, and I'm like, oh my God, we have something really special here. You know, no criticism right now. Outside of little things we'd like to change in our animation, the film is beautiful. It works on a level we hadn't even anticipated. So that was my favorite memory.
It broke.
Well, first of all, thank you for all coming here. We all appreciate your presence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I ask one question? Ma'am, I didn't see that you had a dog. What is your dog's name?
Clementine.
Clementine. Thanks. Yay, Clementine.
Okay.
And yay, you. Thank you.
Well, first I want to say that Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite movies, and it's very close to my heart. It's a classic, and Alan Menken's score with Ashman lyrics are just some of the most beautiful music I ever heard. My question is, what was the moment we remember the public that showed that this was a timeless classic to you, a person come up to you after the movie premiere, that you really get a sense of how much of an impact it had on people? And that's my question.
Well, I think the minute somebody says to you that they're doing it, well, particularly after Little Mermaid, when somebody says, you know, you're being asked to do a major character in a Disney animated feature film, you know that it's going to be something special. But I think, I don't know, perhaps I speak for everybody, but for me at least, the first performance before an audience in New York, it's the version, they call it the unfinished version, but it was awfully well polished to call it unfinished. And seeing how people reacted. I was able to bring my 6-year-old daughter to that, and seeing how she reacted to it, seeing how the press reacted to it. The press
we were very
you're sitting in the
trepidatious
audience
about it.
with the press,
Yes.
and seeing how they reacted.
Your
We
critics
had
are
a
tough.
very good sense that this was something special. I mean, we as you go along, it takes quite a long time to make one of these, and over the process, you know, you hear the recordings, you see one another interact, you see bits and pieces as they're drawn, so you have a notion. But when it all came together, that first performance, I think that was the time I was really stricken by how monumental an effort this was, and how proud I was of the finished product.
We were all really nervous that night.
We were very nervous
Don
that night.
Hahn and Jeffrey Katzenberg, because we were in front of the New York critics, and we're New York actors.
We weren't in front of
know.
them. We were sitting next to
them. And you know, you was going in and out of storyboards and the actual, you know, drawings, but it was unfinished. But the music was all there and the dialogue. But wow, when they stood up for 10 minutes at the end and brought us on stage, I was like, okay, we went over the New York critics. This is a good thing. I think we knew them. I knew them too.
And seeing that my daughter actually went with,
she's,
every moment. She's seen an awful lot of theater, and even at the age of 6, she had seen an awful lot of theater. And to see how this one took her was very, very satisfying.
It's cool.
I think the thing that was so remarkable about the New York Films critics, you know, that evening, was how brilliant Jeffrey Katzenberg is, in the sense that you could call it an unfinished piece of work, but really what it was a complete education of what it takes to make this movie. And by the end, suddenly I'm looking at this as, this is not just a feature film. It's a feature film that's a musical that works. It's also a Broadway show. I mean, you're literally looking at the Broadway show, which I have to say it's a no-brainer. I also have to say Carla DeVito, my wife, one of the first things she ever said to Mr. Eisner was, "You should make this into a Broadway show." And they did. And they haven't stopped. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think I realized how epic it really was just when it became, because I was still a child. So it was very much about, everybody knew it. All of my friends were talking about it. Everybody that I had in my life knew that this movie was great. And I was, people at my school were singing songs from the movie. And, some of them knew that I was Chip and some of them didn't. But it was really awesome to see just how into it everybody was and how quickly that happened. It was very cool.
I kind of already told you what my favorite part was seeing it all together, but I mean, the thing that resonates with me is I do a lot of these conventions, and you guys don't want to hear about it. Look, this room's filled. You guys want to hear about a film we did 25 years ago. I mean, that's what pleases me, that our work has lived this long.
I think the time that it became real to me was the Oscars, and that despite
That's just a little.
despite the the prejudice against animated films, it still managed to get nominated in a very small category, Best Picture. I meant, but I don't mean small as in, I mean, there's only 5 nominees, as opposed to, small, right,
Yep.
as opposed to in the last 10 years, they've been opened up to 10 and all that, but we were the first and pretty much only, animated film that got nominated, and that said a lot, especially since even during the Oscar ceremonies, there was this animosity towards the film and all that. It was just.
And then a year later, all the stars are doing the voices.
Exactly. We were a threat. That was amazing to me. I mean, Billy Crystal was hosting it.
Yes.
And he was just like, movies without actors, all I kept thinking was, when Monsters came out, how's that working for you, Billy? Are you an actor? Are you an actor now? Or not? So yeah, that was a quite of a. Just a little note. I've heard that we were 80 votes away from winning.
Wow. That family film, Silence of the Lambs one. 80 votes.
So that was
Hillary.
Sorry. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Go Raiders, go.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to say thank you for the performances and too. I liked your Gaston role. Even
Good
if
taste.
he was,
You have wonderful taste.
Even if he was a female-like man, all those muscles. I wonder if you can destroy the Death Star with all those muscles. And good job with your performance. I love your singing.
Thank you.
And I liked your Beast role. You do sound like Hellboy a bit.
Sound like?
Hellboy, the guy with the red arm.
Okay. Whatever you say.
Oh, and I liked your voices for Chip and Tails.
Thank you.
I myself played Sonic the Hedgehog, and good job.
Thank you.
All right. I like your costume. Yeah. And,
He's a fashion expert too, as well as a film critic.
yeah, and good job on Tulio. Yeah, he's one of my favorite character models that you made. And good job on Princess and Frog and other stuff that you made.
Thank you.
Yeah, so...
You're
well,
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I used to like Being the Beast, but I still keep in my heart because I love the animation and some other things, especially the Beast's performances. The performances are too good. Yeah. And I used to watching Clean, the artist's YouTube page. However, while I like that movie along with another movie, who do you think would win in a musical contest for cartoons? Belle or in American Tales 2's Tanya Moskowitz?
Belle.
Belle would take Belle.
Are you sure? Because she controls cats and defeated a guy who almost killed an alien.
Belle's fierce.
All right.
She controls Gaston. That says it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Great seeing you again, Paige, by the way.
Yeah, good to see you.
My question is, and I already asked you this when you were at SacAnime last year, but since Robby and Richard are here, what was it like working with Al Menken and Howard Ashman, like great Howard Ashman?
Well, I had known them both previously. Alan, I met working on a show called Kicks.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. It was never produced. But we did it. It was in workshop for about 2 years. There are pieces from that show that show up every now and again and that people do. But that was the piece was in workshop, but I think so were we, practicing what we do and learning what we do. But I knew Alan pretty well. In fact, I had cursed him at one point for writing Little Mermaid because my daughter was about 4 at that time, and just my whole life was But he said that I needn't feel bad because he too was cursed. He had a daughter about the same age, and she did the same thing. So I knew Alan before. Howard I had met and I knew, but I hadn't worked with before this. But I don't think that there has been a more influential person than Howard in what we do. And I think that certainly the world of Broadway lost such an artist when we lost Howard. There'll never be another quite like him. So working with the two of them together it's the best. It's all you can hope for when you do what we do.
And truthfully, the film really was Howard's vision. All of it came together because of him.
It was his concept.
It was his concept.
And in effect, I mean, he was not the director, of course, but he pretty much directed each of us in helping us to understand what he had written and what he envisioned when he wrote it.
I have to say I've learned more about Howard from you guys. I didn't really get a chance to spend time with this brilliant man.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. But he's left an incredible legacy.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was dying when he did Beauty and the Beast. And consequently, I think because of that, he was much more strong about his opinions and how it had to be because he knew this was his last work. And,
There was an urgency about it.
There was an urgency.
He was going to represent him.
And I think even though he never saw it, he saw it and knows how brilliant it was.
It was pretty amazing. There was a change in the middle of the film where we had to adjust the objects singing Be Our Guest from Maurice to Belle, and some lyrics had to change, and from his deathbed he wrote those changes. He was a trooper all the way to the end. It was amazing.
I have just a little memory of Howard. He was actually at the studio during The Little Mermaids before he got sick, so he was at the studio almost every day. And I remember when we all came into the theater and he played us The Little Mermaid, the whole story. Just sat at the piano and he goes, "Okay, this is where this," and everything was in order. And just there were no visuals yet. It was just him at the piano singing all this, playing and singing all the songs, the entire story of Little Mermaid. And we were just like, spellbound. And we walked out of the theater just going, "Man, we have a movie."
Yeah, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, he had just this vision. And I felt so fortunate to be there looking back now, to be there at that time when he was there and healthy and strong and presented this entire film to us.
I remember him being present in the studio when we were recording, certainly with the orchestra and all of those sessions, and many of the other sessions. He was always present, even though he was quite ill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw you SacAnime last year.
It's great to see you.
Beauty and the Beast is still my all-time favorite Disney movie ever. I love it. Since I was a kid, I still do. My burning question to all of you is, what are your final thoughts on it's the new year of the live-action Beauty and the Beast? Are you excited for it? And what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's going to be wonderful. I've seen bits and pieces. You know, Don Hahn is working on that one as well. And I think, I've said it when we went on our press tour, I would have cast Emma Watson as Belle. I mean, I think she's perfect. Perfect casting. It's going to be great.
I've heard wonderful things.
I've heard wonderful things, but have y'all seen clips and things? I mean, it is so beautiful. It's kind of what we imagine it to be. Even when we're looking at the animation, that's sometimes what we see. Those gorgeous, gorgeous sets. It's wonderful.
I want to be at the premiere.
Yeah. I'm very excited for it. I think most of the visuals are incredible. Some of them are very different from what we did or from what was done for the original. And I think that it may be missing a bit of the magic that we had on the original. But I don't know. I mean, it's just from the little clips that we've seen. But I'm excited. I hope it carries its own magic.
I haven't seen enough of it to judge what I think it's going to be. I am glad that Don Hahn's involved in it because he was the producer. So I think we're in pretty good hands.
Yes.
I think it'll keep its integrity. So I do feel good about it.
I think Lumiere is really ugly. But there was a movie in the early 90s that taught me not to judge a book by its cover. And
He judged by two really nice laughs.
criticism until I actually see the whole
There you
movie.
go.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to say what an honor it is to meet all of you today. And Paige, you're so beautiful, and it's just great to see and meet all
Thank
of
you. I'm not real beautiful today. I was fine wearing sunglasses. I slipped in the bathtub coming out of the tub and went right on my face. So I got black and blue. I didn't want you to have to look at it.
You're going to feel better than
Thank you.
Yes.
So this is a question for you, Paige. How does it feel with the new live-action movie coming out to share your title as a real-life Disney princess with Emma Watson? And I mean, all of you have to share your titles.
Well, I told Don Hahn to send her a message for me. Yes, say, Emma, you know, you're a huge star, and you'll always be a huge star. But your following from playing Belle now for the rest of your life will be bigger than even the Harry Potter, any of this stuff. It will change your life forever. Children will look at you differently as they grow up, and her legacy is going to be wonderful. And I just want her to relish it and do things like this, meet the fans and hear their stories, and so much of the kids and boys too. I get fan mail from. It's just wonderful. But how it changed their lives and enriched their lives. So I think it's pretty amazing. I think Emma's going to love it. I don't think she really knows yet what it's going to be, though, how big it's going to be. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Amara,
Yes.
could you please sing Something There? Something There from Beauty and the Beast.
There's something sweet and almost kind, but he was mean and he was coarse and unrefined. And now he's dear and so unsure. I wonder why I didn't see it there before. I should have warmed up.
You're awesome.
Rick, will you sing something for Rigoletto? I'd like to do Rigoletto if you have a couple of minutes. I think we're going to run out of time. I'd like to do
I just want to say that it's an honor to be, because you were my childhood. And I really loved up to now. I'm about to cry.
Oh, it's okay, honey. Thank you. Oh.
will say, "You were my childhood," but they get still so emotional. So I think it's this film transcends age.
Where's the tears for Lumiere? There's some fans in the audience.
And yeah, I made you and look what she did. She made these. And this one's for you.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, they want you. So nice to meet you.
See you there.
Very sweet. Two things. This has absolutely, I love you guys and thank you so much for your work. I listened to it a lot while my kids were watching it and I was good in the kitchen. This is mostly for Robby. I've seen you for many years. Thank you. Thank you for your work in the movie The End.
Thank you so much.
I crack up every time.
Thanks. That bit, I came up with that bit. I had to only fly in. I was doing a show that was going to Broadway. And I told Mr. Reynolds, who was my friend, I said, you know, if you can get me in and out in one day, I bet they'll go for it. And he said, okay, I'll do it. And I remember when I got there and I was changing clothes and I'd never put on a priest's outfit before, except for fun. And I went, I wonder where this piece of plastic, oh, that piece of plastic goes here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is funny. Oh, if I were in there. And I went to him and I said, Bert, I don't know if this is blasphemous, but can I do this because it's funny? I think that's one thing we all share up here, is can we do it because it's funny? And it worked, and it's so kind of you to bring that up and remember. That's so nice.
Well, that's what stood out.
Thanks.
The second thing, can you shake his hand? It's her birthday.
Absolutely.
It's her birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Annie. Happy birthday to you.
Hi. So I was going to ask about the movie question that I had. Anyway, so this is for Robby now. In the movie, I don't know if you remember, the beast stutters a couple times. Was that planned or did that just happen?
Yeah, the beast every once in a while when he doesn't know what to do, he mumbles and that became, and that was really one of the things, you know, when I was doing very well as an actor when I was young. I was very fortunate. But I remember working on one movie where, again, it's like you don't know you're climbing a ladder, you're just doing the next movie, and everyone's doing their best. Nobody tries to make a bad movie. But anyway, so I was in this movie, and the director is a man who co-directed Singing in the Rain. Okay? Now, I was a hit New York actor, had already been on Broadway twice, I've been in a couple of movies. Here they got me out in LA, and it's like, wow, he's on the rise. Yet here comes the director of Singing in the Rain, and he says, when you walk up the stairs, I want you to go. Oh, cool.
Hello, everyone. Honor to meet everyone here.
Wow.
My question is, what is your inspiration for your characters when you record your voices?
What was my inspiration? The first thing I ever heard was some of the music and getting a notion of what Gaston sounded like and hearing the lyric with it. In fact, I think probably the first time I heard it, Howard Ashman was singing it, which certainly inspired me to know what Gaston was like and what he was going to be like. All of the characters evolved over time, but it was pretty clear from the outset what kind of a fellow Gaston was and what he would sound like. So I think probably Howard Ashman and his presentation of what the piece was would have been my inspiration.
Yeah, for me, Howard, but also Judy Garland. I idolized Judy.
She came in!
Well, I'm one of those kids I grew up, she was my idol growing up, and so that was sort of in me anyway. But as I progressed with doing it, recording it, Howard kept saying, I want more Paige to come through. And I was like, this was the first time I ever did a role where I couldn't hide behind something totally different than me. And he said, the more of you that you let in, the more I like it. So that was a tough thing to let that wall down for the first time in my career. So, yeah, it was great.
My inspiration is the same inspiration that I've had for the last 35 years. I don't know if Carla, if you've gone back to the hotel or not. Did she go back? That's my inspiration for the last 35 years. Before that, I don't we met on Broadway doing Pirates of Penzance.
Carla DeVito's a big Broadway star, just so you know.
Thank you. And also, for those of you who like Meatloaf, in the originals, Paradise out of Dashboard, whatever, she has to kiss him with her tongue, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's her. But she is my inspiration every day. No matter what, always. I have to chop that.
I was almost 8 when I started recording Beauty and the Beast. Inspiration at that point was just a matter of what my day was. But a lot of it came from Don Hahn and the voice directors that we worked with and stuff, because they had more understanding on what the character was supposed to be as it grew. And so my inspiration was literally just to, be myself and then follow their tweaks as they adjusted.
But may I say, it's a remarkable thing when a young person is an actor. Your performance is profound. I mean, it's not just like, you're not just talking. You're great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
As a director, also as a director of people of all ages, but of younger people, his performance is amazing. So, and he's alone in the room, and it's amazing.
Thank you very much.
First off, I want to say it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Thank you.
What was your guys' favorite song in the movie?
That's tough. It has to be Beauty and the Beast. I was asked to do the press stuff because Angela didn't, which cracks me up. Angela didn't want to sing it on the press stuff, and she was nervous about singing it in the first place. She comes in, she'd been out all night long on flying because something happened with the flight that was canceled. She ended up flying all night long to be in the session the next day, and they said, you don't have to come in. She said, I'll come in. And she was all nervous about doing it, and we're with the live orchestra, everybody's there. She gets in the booth, she sings Beauty and the Beast in one take. To perfection, and there were people choked up with tears. And she did it. And most
She's still doing it.
At 92.
She did. Did y'all see that?
At 92, you saw that? Isn't it unbelievable?
You mean she's still doing it at other venues?
Yeah, when we were in New York and we were rehearsing, she was rehearsing in the afternoon. She said, Paige, I'm really nervous. Alan's taking this tempo so slow. I don't have the line to hold the notes. And I said, Angie, do your tempo. He'll follow you, I promise you. When you get up there, and she was, like, you called it a master class?
It was a master class, but I have to say something as the beast in me. And remember, the beast is pretty pathetic, but so I gotta say, you know, enough with the princess, okay? We gotta get more down to the guy stuff here. The funniest song I think I have ever seen in my life, and my dad is a comedy writer, and I grew up in the comedy world, is these guys.
Gaston.
That is just LeFou and Gaston. It's just remarkable, remarkable. So.
Okay, so he wants a comedy song and Best Ballad.
Yours is actually iconic. Yours reminds me of The Sound of Music. This reminds me of seeing Zero Mostel. When I was young, you know, it's like, oh
Nobody's
my God,
ever compared me to him before. I appreciate that.
You sit back and go, my goodness, that's talent. That's funny. Oh my God.
Thank you. Well, I have to say that one of my favorites would be the opening number, because it includes, you know, the entire village and sets up the whole movie. And I think as a number, it's brilliant for that. That's a very difficult thing to do, exposition like that, and it's a very long number. It's an
And Howard
extraordinarily
said
number.
we can't present this to Disney. They're going to laugh at us.
too long.
They're going to throw us out and scream at us. And Alan kept saying, no, we're keeping it exactly as written. And of course,
But it had so many wonderful things, and if you could have been in the room the day that we recorded that, it was wonderful. The chorus guy sitting back there, and each of them is but all of those different characters that you hear in the town that all sing together, you know, these are all wonderful, brilliant performers, and so I would have to say that the opening number is one of my favorites. It's also funny, by the way.
My favorite's the Gaston and LeFou when they're in the pub, because I did most of LeFou in that scene. So it's a very selfish answer.
That's hysterical.
It was really fun. It was a very funny scene. I get to do LeFou twirling around like a pirouette for no reason. Just whatever is funny we can do. So that's my favorite.
My favorite was Be Our Guest. It's the the big epic dance number, and it's just I liked that one. That's the one that I.
You know, this is like
in my head.
going down a Beatles list. Oh my gosh, that was great shit. We're in the Beatles.
There wasn't a weak song in the film. All of them were great.
Yeah. I guess Be Our Guest. It was the first song that I ever animated to. So there was a lot to learn. It was sort of a baptism by fire. Learning the beats, learning how to.
How did you do that? Really? How did you? Because you choreographed a number.
I can't take full credit for it. but the interesting thing was that was the very first thing that we were given. That was the first thing that went into production, and I had to learn the character very quickly. The first scene I ever animated on the show was course by course, you know.
Nice.
And then I had to learn how to make Lumiere kick. Usually a kick requires two legs. So I'm going to stand up here. Basically, the concept is not in the feet, it's in the body. You use the same action for the foot, but it's the turn of each kick.
The stuff you don't think about.
So basically you have to mentally break it down in those terms. And then the other thing was that Disney at the time, they would have these screenings for the public to get a feel of, how the movie was doing, and if some kid yawned or scratched his head, then let's cut it. They were going to cut Ariel's song in Mermaid because there was some kid fidgeting. It's crazy, right? In Be Our Guest, the whole middle part wasn't everyone felt like it slowed it down. And so they were going to cut that bridge, that middle section, you know, and who saved it? A brilliant story artist named Joe Ranft, who is no longer with us. He came in and re-storyboarded that whole middle section, came up with the whole salt shaker and the snow and all that stuff. And basically they said, yeah, this is great, we're going to keep it in. And so, yeah, a lot went on in just that little song.
And that kid was never heard from again.
So to answer your question, Robby, about the beats, when we get the exposure sheets, the beats are marked off. So like when I did a thing of LeFou jumping on people's heads, I did that to beat, as you might know each one of them. So we have that to go by, so you make sure you get that back. So.
Wow. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know I hate to sound like a broken record, but Beauty and the Beast is just, it's, you know, my favorite Disney movie growing up. You know, I related a lot to Belle growing up. You know, we both loved to read, we both loved adventure, you know, and there were times, you know, where sometimes we felt like we didn't fit in. And yeah, it's just a wonderful movie. It just, I'm sorry, it just, it's cool. Oh my goodness, I'm so starstruck right now. I'm sorry.
You know, look over here.
It's all good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Rick, go hug him.
All right, so this is for, I was, you know, you guys have done a lot of theater, you know, and Bradley, I don't know if you've done theater or...
Not much.
Oh, well, give it a try, it's fun.
Okay.
I was just in a show recently at local community theater. It was a fantastic show. The show, we sold out.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. You know, I don't know if you remember, I used to have a ponytail that I had to cut for the show.
Oh,
Well, you know, I usually do that.
I'm
But
glad
yeah.
you guys did it. It was recently?
Yeah, it was like last month.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But the question was, if you guys decided to all get together, you know, all babes in arms, you know, hey kids, let's put on a show, what production would you guys do?
Oh, boy.
Beauty and the Beast. Well, it's easy to cast among us.
Oliver.
Oh, I love Oliver.
We could do Oliver. Yeah.
Great.
I picked the 10 Commandments.
Either Wicked or Hedwig.
I have an interesting story about Wicked. When they had the breakdown come out for the auditions for Wicked, my agent called and he said, "You're going to be flattered, but you're also going to be really upset." I said, "What?" He said, "The casting breakdown from the casting director said for Idina Menzel's role, we need a younger Paige O'Hara." I was like, "Oh God, screen makeup, okay." But I'm a huge fan of Idina's. I think she's phenomenal.
You know, she's a Disney princess as well.
Yes, a great princess.
Oh yeah, that's right, Queen, that's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Continuing the discussion about, you know, like animation and stuff from earlier, if you guys had like an idea, or two or three, or how many, you know, to make like a traditional 2D animated movie, what would it be about?
I wrote a script that with Carla DeVito that actually sold in the room when I was doing a lot of directing at NBC, and it was called Animated. And it was about a studio that did an animated show. So you had someone in a wheelchair who was playing the hero, and you had this big hulking guy who works out every day playing kind of his sidekick. And when they weren't recording, they were still best friends, but the roles, obviously, of life are different. And then there was a change in regime at NBC, and they not only shelved it, but they wanted to make sure that no one else got it, I guess. And I ended up doing it at one of my universities as a sitcom, and it's gotten some of my students jobs. So
That is so cool.
that truly is our business.
I have no idea what I would do as a concept. It would probably be something fantasy or sci-fi. I don't know. I don't have an idea for anything like a script, but it would probably have a feel like a Treasure Planet type film. Just I really enjoyed that visual language that was used in that, so I would try and go in that direction.
Anything, as long as it's full animation.
I would like to do a film, and we don't do these much anymore, but just like a just a comedy, a flat-out comedy with no meaning at all, just lots of laughs, like Mad Mad World, something like that. If you guys have seen that, just a comedy, just a big crazy.
I actually own both Blu-ray versions of that movie, both the cartoon version and the regular MGM version. It is a great movie.
No, it's just crazy, and I would love to do a flat-out hilarious comedy.
When you do that, remember there's 4 of us here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Necessary here.
I've been dreaming about this automated air module since I was 4 years old. And it's a recurring dream, and his name is Max, and it's a little like a spaceship that lands in my backyard. And whenever I want to get away from the world, whenever I just crawl in, we go flying around, and he hides in the trees, the bad guys are there, and it's just really cool. He talks to you. I know I'm insane.
No, you're not.
We're all a little bit crazy, and that's a good thing.
I mean, who drinks their own pee?
Well, Disney has such a wonderful track record using fairy tales and things like that. They get a bad reputation every so often. But I remember, I think it was Einstein that somebody was saying, what should I do to help my child develop into a brilliant mind? And he said, read fairy stories, read fairy tales. Well, I did that, but after that, read some more. Because they inspire people on so many levels. They teach morality, they teach personal responsibility and growth, and just all kinds of things that you can find in it. So they're a wonderful basis for stories like this one, like Beauty and the Beast.
And do you guys know who Owen Susskind is?
No.
We met him recently. He's got he's a child that didn't speak for years, who had some difficulties well, I won't go into it, but long story short, he didn't talk for 3 years until he started talking through the movies of Disney.
Oh, wow.
And he's got a documentary coming out on his life coming up. I got to meet him at the film festival in West Bend, Virginia. And now you can't keep him quiet. But his father started talking to him as the character in Aladdin. And all of a sudden he spoke. And now he knows every line of every Disney film ever made. It's unbelievable when you meet this kid. He's now 24, and it's an amazing story. So Google Owen Susskind.
It's called Life Animated.
Yes, Life Animated, that's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is this mic working? That sounds like it is up here.
You're on. Weird. Can't hear myself talk. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. Richard and Paige and Robby and Bradley and Rick and Nick. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all.